Yo, thanks for tuning in. Special edition SC Sports World. I'm Luther Dupree with Mike Vick. Special guest, Torre Colverson. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, boss? How you feeling?
Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
As you know, it's a live show. Give us a call, 412-231-2288. Talking a lot of issues, a lot of current events. But Mike, I want to start with you first. Let the viewing audience know what's going on with you, and then we'll get into Torre and his great organization doing big work in the community.
Just doing what Mike Vick does, just being an advocate for positive things in our community, and trying to be a positive influence to the youth any way I can. And I'm just glad to be on the show. It's a live show. We want you to call in. We're going to talk about many issues in our community, and we want some positive solutions. So we're looking out to hear you today. Call in. We'll give you the number a little while later. Please call in.
Exactly. And one thing, the last time we did this, Brother Jeff Smalls over in Homestead, I was sad to hear there was another shooting out there today, just recently. So, hopefully, things will, he can get his organization going, and we can really affect some change out there. Real disappointed about that.
Yeah.
But
for those that don't know, you mentioned his name. We should give you his name was Jeff Biggie Smalls, and his name of his program is called Solutions out of Homestead.
Yeah, so make sure you give them a look, and definitely need our support out there. But Torre, now you were on here a couple years ago. Moxie was just getting started. Tell the viewing audience a little bit about Moxie, what you guys are trying to do, and some big events that you've had recently and what you're going to do in the future.
Okay. Well, basically, the Moxie Organization, we've been in existence for the last 5 years. We'll be coming up on 5 years in January.
Okay.
And basically the reason why we started the organization, myself and my wife, we mentor in the community separately, and then we also mentored in the church. And then my stint with the county, working as a caseworker, seeing some things in that system that allowed me to kind of start brainstorming my own ideas. So I put together an organization that was a wraparound service, and that basically focused on mentoring. And we didn't just stop with the foundation of mentorship. So we brought in a dance company that my wife runs, For His Glory Arts Ministry. We also have Moxie Music, which is a music component that we have. We have a Dress for Success program. We also have the House of Moxie, which is a transition house for homeless.
Where's that at now?
We have one over in the West End, and then we also have another one over in Wilkinsburg.
Okay.
And we also have a few other collaboratives that we started with some vocational programs, and also just some minor things with employment and things like that, trying to get people who have records, people who just are down on their luck, just trying to get them employed and get them a second chance at life so they can reestablish themselves in their community.
Oh, okay.
So with all of those things that we try to come up with, we're just working as young adults, and that's the beautiful thing about it, that you don't see people our age doing what we're doing. Normally the people that are running these organizations are older people, the older generation that have a disconnect with the younger generation that can't speak into them. With us having that insight and us being able to kind of say, listen, bro, we just came out of that, not too long ago. Some of us are still in it. So this is how we can guide you through this and walk with me as I go through it. And that sign of relevancy that we have when we're dealing with them works more than that do as I say, not as I do mentality of the old age. You know what I mean? So we're just working, trying to do what we can while we can.
Right. I like what you said. Not too far removed, and a lot of times we have people that's just been on the battleground 50 years.
Right.
It's time for them to sit it back down, and for us to step up. At times, and
right.
A lot of people have a difficult time doing that. You see 70, 80 years old still trying to be out there when it's time for us to step up. So that's definitely a good point. Mike, you laughing, man, but
No, I'm smiling because I guess I'm the elder statesman here. I still think I got some valuable things.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I understand that. No, but what I did like, and I said a great point, is the fact that our youngsters gravitate more to the youth because he feels that you understand them more.
Right.
But from the standpoint as an elder, I do try to relate to them, let them know, but I want to hear them. I think a lot of times as adults, we talk at our kids instead of with our kids to
Right.
hear their viewpoint.
Right.
And people I often say this when we're on the air, that people making mistakes saying the kids are the problem. They're not. They're really a solution. And we just have to guide them in the right way.
There you go.
And I think that you're doing a wonderful job. I want to commend you on that.
I appreciate that. If I could interject, the biggest problem that I see in this city is, I pick up the Pittsburgh Courier, and I look at the people that they give the accolades to, and it's not that I don't share the accolades with those people as well, but it's the same faces.
There you
Right.
go.
And
There
it's
you go.
not like the support is widespread throughout.
Correct.
There are a plethora of organizations, small and big, that are operating, that are doing what needs to be done in our communities, but they don't get any support because they're not in people's eyes a big entity. And not to kind of pat ourselves on the back, but we're self-funded. We've been running our program out of our pockets. So we're working ourselves to the bone tirelessly and putting the money that we need for trips and events and stuff like that out of our own pocket. And we have no support. We have no backing. We have no organization behind us. We have no church behind us. It's all self-made. And I think that right there sets us apart from a lot of different organizations. And, I just want for the small guy to actually get a chance in the sun. And we have a lot of big organizations that are taking these monies, and they are putting them to good use, but they're also misusing them.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And anytime
It's the
that
same ones over
Right.
and over that just control that same block.
and all they're doing is
Exactly.
patting the numbers down, and they're really not effective anymore. And then we're wondering why programs are being cut. It's because when these massive entities are getting
1.5 million.
yeah,
million, yeah.
and they only use $200,000 of that for the youth, and the rest of that is for their state of the art building that the kids can't even come
their
in between a
vacation.
certain
Right.
time.
Or their vacation.
Right.
Or
Tax
training or
Right.
any different thing. Right.
or funding their family within the thing. We understand that, but what we're glad to be able to give you the exposure. That's why we're so happy to have you.
And I
today.
appreciate that.
But the fact that we appreciate what you're doing, and you hit a very vital point, hit my nerve because I've received that when I come back to Pittsburgh. I'm a Pittsburgh native. It's very cliquish and clannish here.
Yes.
And if you're not with the right people,
You ain't
no
getting
matter
nothing.
what you have to offer, you have a hard time getting in.
Right.
Exactly.
But we have such substantial problem within our community. We have to see that we shouldn't wait for anybody else. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and be part of the change that we need.
I hear you.
So that's what Luther and I gravitate towards. What we try to do, and we're glad to be able to give you the exposure and commend you again on what you're doing, you and your lovely wife, and thank you for all you've done in our community and will continue to do.
No, Torre, how can somebody get involved? What's the website, phone number they can get in touch if they want to support or volunteer?
Okay. Okay. First, I'll give you the website is Moxie Cares, MOXIE cares.org. You can go on there. We have a comments box that you can put all your information in. Come straight to our emails, and myself or someone from my team will get back to you. MOXIEORG@yahoo.com is our email address. 412-608-6603. Had to make sure it was okay with my wife first. But that's my cell phone number. You can reach me at any time. And I mean, listen, if you see me on the streets, I'm not shy to sit down and talk. I've had numerous conversations in Walmart for 2 and 3 hours, just talking about how we can make a better change and how we can help these youth. So, I'm here.
The thing I wanted to ask you about the youth that you do mentor, what are some of the prevalent problems that you see that's lacking, that's causing so much of a problem with our youth? What is your opinion of it?
Honestly, going back to working with the county, it all starts in the home. And when we did the genograph and we followed the chain, some of these things are generational.
Right.
So your drug abuse, your alcohol, even some of the pregnancy, early pregnancy, the school dropouts, and a lot of it is.
Generational.
Yeah, it's generational. And more so, I tell this story all the time and make it quick. I was watching a show called MTV Made, and on that show, there was a mom and a daughter. The daughter was overweight. She said, "It's my senior year. I want to lose weight. I want to go to college fresh."
Right.
And that whole process, the mom was sabotaging the daughter, throwing her favorite foods at her. So they finally said, Mom, why are you doing this? She said, well, nobody did this for me when I was growing up, so why should I let her get this? So what I'm seeing is parents are sabotaging their kids because they didn't get what they got. And so it's like when you got that mentality inside the house, so if a kid comes and says, Mom, I need my math work done, and the mom only went to 8th grade, and the kid's in 11th grade, how much help do you think that kid is going to get?
From that particular parent.
Exactly. And so our kids now, for some reason, are not wise enough to go and seek outside help. Now they just say, okay, well, Mom said don't do the math work, so I'm going to go chill with my boys. And so now we got the process with education.
But in defense of some parents who may not have went as far educational-wise, I think one of the problems that we have with our youth is that so many are easily influenced by their peers. You know, and you said something that's very vital, is that all learning begins at home.
Yes.
And we have to be very conscientious of giving our kids the tools they need to be positive individuals later on. So we have to, even if I didn't, which I happen to, but if I'm a stickler for education. So my job as a parent is to lead my kids in the best way that I can to get them their education.
Right.
And if if I didn't, I would still know what I was lacking, and we need to do all we can to help our children.
Right.
Not sabotage them like that particular instance you said.
And I definitely agree with that. I think that is a very heavy point because, I mean, there's so much. You got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Distractions.
Right. But it's just, where's the discipline that the parent instilled in that child to kind of buckle down and do?
There you go.
Now, I mean, if you can teach the child to balance himself, have your fun, but also be academic. You can't sit here and be an athlete but not be a student.
There you go.
And then that's why you got kids, at certain schools that they perform well in the school, but at the end of the year they're like, well, next year you can't play because you're, you know what I mean? So it's just, it needs to be a balance.
Yeah, hey, Torre, you talk about breaking the cycle. It's a vicious cycle, and it's hard if you've grown up one certain way. Maybe you don't know how to break the cycle.
Right.
What do you think? And I know me and Mike, we hit on it a lot. We try to get the churches involved. We think that's a necessary step that we need to do. It needs to be opened up more than just on Sundays or Saturdays.
I agree.
That's where we could have the training programs for parents, after school, for tutoring. Are you guys linked up with any churches, or what's your view on that? I mean,
yeah, well, actually we are. We're linked to Potter's House Ministries. Hello to Messenger and Bishop Carswell.
Okay.
Also,
was that on West End or?
Oh no, Potter's House is over in Mount Oliver.
Mount Oliver. Okay.
Okay. We're linked to them. We're linked to the Newman Center of Biblical Guidance. That's over in the West End.
Okay.
We were linked to Love Fellowship Church, and that's over now in Turtle Creek, Bishop Brock. Okay. And the Newman Center, that's Pastor Moy. Solid Rock over in Carnegie.
Okay.
So I mean, we try to link ourselves with a lot of different churches, not only because of the youth, but we have friends that that go to those churches, and we try to help build. That whole it takes a village. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every hand makes a heavy load light. You know what I'm saying? So we try to go to those different churches and say, hey, how can we be an asset to you guys? My wife, she ministers at different churches, and that's how we get our tithes in. And when she does that, then normally they just say, hey, whenever you got anything or want to do anything, just come. So
on that same note, when you mentioned your wife, talk about the dance segment and the musical segment that you have within your program.
Moxie Music it was a mentoring component that we initially started off. My thing was the music is very influential. I'm very adamant about music because I was really tuned into the truth behind hip hop. G. Craig Lewis opened my eyes up to a lot of things about the subconscious with music, and seeing that with the rise of the NWA now with the Straight Outta Compton, everybody's like tripping over that. So it's like it shows you how powerful music is. So we try to create, not recreate the wheel, but take something that was already used to now use it as a tool to get the youth to come in. So we deal with them with structure, and we try to take disciplines and put it inside of music and teach them through music, if you understand that. And then with the arts ministry that we have, we try to do the same thing. So it's like whenever she's teaching them a certain move, you know, balance is not just you balancing yourself on the floor, but it's balance yourself in life, allowing life to be able to hit you with everything, but you still be able to maintain your solid foundation. And, you know, breathing, you know, being able to sometimes take a deep breath and say, you know what, relax, you know, and it's not just on the stage, but it's in life. So it's like taking the basic fundamentals of life and bringing them into a structure and being able to use those things and, you know, weave them into what we're trying to teach.
Okay.
Well, when you spoke about the music, because I'm very much into that, so do you take the kids who's interested in music, and have you had anybody actually make any CDs or music? You have access to a studio and things like that for the kids?
Right now, we have several KLB radio over in on the north side.
Okay.
We connected with them. We have them to use. Devontae Sick Williams, the sick one, he has too many emails and acronyms. Just hit the Moxie website up to get his reverb.
He's been here before.
Yeah.
You know, he's turned it up here.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually,
well known. Yeah.
actually, right now on the billboards, and don't kill me, Devontae, for getting this wrong, but there's 5 billboards, and on 5, he's in the top 3 in the nation for his gospel music.
Okay.
And right now we're in the process of revamping everything because we had a few artists when the last time we came.
Right.
But we kind of are revamping that now to where we're getting a vocalist. We have a mime, and he's a poet as well, Teron Thompson. And you know, with my wife dancing now, and then we got a few producers that we're starting to groom and plug in. So it's about, for me, it's about grooming. I don't want someone that's already on the top. I want somebody that doesn't have anything and want to grow them, just like, you know, like this show. You know, the couple years I've been here, to see what this is now, the legacy, you know what I mean? And so I'd rather take a no name and make him great than take a great and, you know, he'd be great.
Speaking on that, and hearing what you're doing with the youth, I think is a wonderful thing. Like I said earlier, we also do something called A Child Shall Lead Them. And you talk about a mom. So we're going to reach out to you to bring some of those youth. That's why I asked you what position they're in. When we have that show, we want you to bring some of the youth in to highlight the talent that they have and glorify the Lord. So we'll let you know about that in some future time.
I appreciate that.
Give me that number again, because we do want to get in some current events. What's the number for somebody to get in touch with Moxie?
412-608-6603.
All right. I do want to bring, we have a clip, Michelle Alexander, who's done great work.
Yes.
As we talk about rebuilding the new Jim Crow. She did a clip I wanted to run. Can we run that clip now?
Right. His leg look broke. Look at his leg.
As national attention converges on Baltimore after the death of another city resident, Freddie Gray, while in police custody, one of the foremost authorities on systemic issues at the root of police brutality says residents here need to organize to bring about change.
And so when we're working for reform, I think we have got to be arguing publicly and saying publicly that the reform we're demanding is necessary because Black lives matter.
Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow, a wide-ranging indictment of the U.S. prison industrial complex, was asked about the lack of progress with police reform in light of Gray's death in her appearance at the Real News Network Town Hall in Baltimore. She told the gathering of community activists the use of force in minority communities continues unabated because opposition is fragmented.
We have got to be speaking our truth courageously and boldly, telling unpopular, difficult truths, and organizing with a long-term view towards movement building.
Alexander also believes heavy-handed police tactics and lack of accountability have created perilous conditions for minority populations in cities like Baltimore.
Poor people of color matter because poor people of all colors matter, and because we have created a penal system that functions more like a caste system than a system of crime prevention and control.
The comments were made during a conversation with Alexander and Real News host Taya Graham to discuss her book and how the criminal justice system ensnares minorities. Gray died 7 days after he was arrested by police in West Baltimore. Cell phone video captured Gray screaming in pain, but a police report did not note any injuries. Neither Police Commissioner Anthony Batts or Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake say they know how he died. However, on Monday, 6 officers involved in the case were suspended.
challenging legislation seeking to overturn the Police Officers' Bill of Rights and, help to challenge police unions that, refuse to snitch on each other while they insist everyone else snitch on their brother, cousin, neighbor, and friend, right? If we don't, then we have no hope of changing the mentality that brought us to this place. We've actually got to have that big fight.
All right. So you see, I think she's doing great work. The new Jim Crow brought up a lot of issues. Torre, your thoughts on that, Torre? I mean,
Well,
and this is just Torre, not necessarily this is Torre's idea.
see,
What's your?
the interesting thing is this, outside of my organization, I am a certified agent for the state. I do housing security, housing police, and I also do private details and things like that. So outside of this suit and tie and this beautiful structure, you'll see me in a
Comedian.
Jokes.
You know what I'm saying? You'll see me in a fully vested up with a firearm on my side, and I'm so being a young black male and also being on the side behind the badge where I have to enforce rule. It's been a very interesting process for me because it allows me to see both sides of the table. Mm-hmm. And although I do agree with some of the things that are being said, we have to take accountability for ourselves, and that's a lot what I don't see in our community. It's always them, but never us standing in the mirror and saying, what am I doing wrong? And that goes across the table for everything. And it's not just crime, it's for our kids, for parents, it's for everybody. And for her to say, oh, the criminal justice system is set up just to ensnare blacks, I cringe with that because I'm like, it's not true, because if we weren't out doing some of the things that we were doing, then it probably,
Okay, let me.
One thing begets together is what I'm saying.
I agree with you wholeheartedly about us being accountable for our actions, but we can't sugarcoat the fact that there's no study to show Hispanics and blacks use drugs any more than whites. But what I will say is that we get policed different, we get sentenced different as far as with drugs, no question. And I'm 100% with you as far as us. Like I've seen when you first laughed, wasn't the matter when she said, Black Lives Matter. And see, I'm not one who hangs on cliches. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, to me, Black Lives Matter, and it should matter when we're getting killed by police officers, right, when we're getting killed by another group of people, but mainly from the perspective of when we're killed by ourselves, because that's more of a number.
Exactly.
So it should Black Lives should matter then. But we will be lying to ourselves as well as to our listening audience if we didn't recognize that we are policed different, mm-hmm, our sentences are different, and a lot of times a young white kid will get in trouble with the police and they'll call his parents.
Right.
You don't get that. We don't get that. But we know that, so we should keep ourselves to a higher standard.
Right. You're right, Mike. And another thing, now, even as far as, I work in a lot of schools, kids are getting arrested in school now. Now, back in the day, people, I don't know if you cut up, Torre, but some of us used to cut up. And it was a call, you weren't leaving in cuffs. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's what's happening now.
School line to the pipeline.
So I hear what you're saying. Yes, the responsibility is on you. You make that choice to do what you want to do.
Now,
however, Torre, I know, you have your badge, you have your mm-hmm, and sometimes you see things through, the blue. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to admit the policing is different in black communities than white communities. If you're doing wrong, yes, you deserve to be arrested.
First of all, do you see that?
Do you see that?
I agree. I agree, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to see
where you're at with it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like when I do this, like right now, I'm an officer. Mm-hmm. When I do this, I'm just Torre. I'm just like anybody else walking down the street and doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the difference where, the reason why, and people say, oh, Torre, you're an anomaly. You're the only person that never, and I'm like, well, because my response is different. And I mean, yes, I've been followed. I have a nice Jaguar. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm, in my 20s, I got a Jaguar. I'm doing well for myself. Yes, I get followed. Yes, I get stereotyped. Yes, I sat in front of council members and they said we don't do people with drugs, records, anybody who does all that. I get all that. I get that stuff because I got dreadlocks. Like, I get everything that everybody else gets, but it's all about my reaction to what is given to me. And my thing is, anytime I get pulled over by the police, it doesn't matter if I did anything wrong, if I didn't. My response is yes, sir, no, sir, and I'm out of the situation.
And that's fine.
Everybody.
That's great.
That's
Not
fine.
everybody.
But see,
you're
the
right.
problem is the lack of respect for authority, and it's not just with police. It's with the mother, the father, period. Teachers, and that's where it stems from.
And we do have a problem with that within our community. And when I ask you about the music, because as a poet, I take different issues within our community, trying to make us accountable, set it to music using the kids, and then we come maybe on this show and we have a dialogue and address things. One of the poems that's on my new current CD is called "The Snitch," and she used the word snitch. I was going to bring that. See, words are very powerful things. I don't call it snitching. I call it telling. When you take a word like snitch and you put a negative spin on it, and our kids run with that, see. A long time ago, you did something like you go to your brother. I know your brother. Your mother said, you stop tattletelling. She didn't tell you to stop snitching.
Right.
You see, so when you take those components, but it's our civic duty to tell the authorities what they saw, because that affects our community.
Right.
That affects our community, and we're complicit with the crime or anything negative if you don't stop what's going on. And men, see, if I'm a member of the community, we are the first line of defense in our community.
I agree.
That's
Right,
what we
gotta
need to
be.
do. And then we need to let the police do their job.
Right.
He gets paid to do a job. Now, like I said many times, I think you'll like this. If we were getting shot down in the streets by another race of people like we're getting killed by ourselves, and the police did not come around, we'd be in uproar. Well, now they're coming around, and we're not telling because of that word snitch.
Right.
So we have to change our mindset. We have to change up. And then, too, there's far many more positive people in our community than negative people. We're letting a few negative people make it bad for everybody. But going back to your situation, what you said, here's the problem what you have. Sure, you're doing well. Sure, you articulate and carry yourself well where you don't have a problem, but the problem is this from initially. Young white kids who doing good for themselves and got a Jag and a Benz and a Lamborghini don't get pulled over in the first place. This is what we have to recognize.
And that's fine.
Right,
I definitely, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But, you know, my mindset is this. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so
It is
what
what
are
it
you
is. Does that
going to
mean
do?
it's right? I mean, the thing is, the system, we have to work on changing the system.
And
Yes, we understand, yes, we live in the same reality, but the system is broke. From the criminal justice system to the educational system, the system is broke.
So can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So should that allow us to act lawlessly the way we do
But
it?
you're saying is
No.
just all of us act like
And I'm
that.
not saying that
now
we all
listen,
do.
all three of
I'm just saying
there's no reason for that. You know that, Torre.
Yeah,
you know.
no question.
Okay.
No question. But like you said, but the system is broke, which I agree with you, but I also agree with him as far as there's a step that since we know that, it's like your mom said, it is what it is, we have to be intelligent enough to know how to navigate ourselves
And
in
that's
a way.
all I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. That's why I wanted to expand that. But what I'm saying is, but we have to address the fact that, okay, even though when they pull over you, you don't, first thing I tell you what, you're a police officer, but I guarantee you, you don't make no funny moves knowing you got that gun.
Listen, I'm gonna
'Cause
tell
you'll
you.
be a statistic.
I'm gonna tell you a story, and real quick. I get pulled over. I'm taking, bringing my wife home from the ER, 2 o'clock in the morning, a little bit after like 2:30. I get pulled over. I got 4 cop cars on me. It's just me, and I have my 45 underneath my seat, and I have my shotgun in the trunk because I was at the range earlier that day. I had about a couple $1,000s in my armrest because of different things that we were doing and some events that I collected. My hair was all crazy. My dreads is out. I had on a rolled up T-shirt, sleeves out, had some shorts and some Timbs on. It looked like a whole bad situation. When the cop pulled me out of the car because I said I had a firearm in my car, he pulled me out, patted me down, checked everything out. I'm sitting there the whole time, hands here. Hey, I'm chopping it up with him, trying to, keep the situation light, try to keep the mood light, ask questions, you know what I mean? Hey, so what color is that light over there? You know what I'm saying? Dumb questions to keep the mood light. And after they checked everything, I said, wait, officer, I got everything in my back pocket. He pulled all my documentation out for my guns. I'm on my way home.
Yeah.
And my thing is, it looked like a bad situation. There's so many people who just get pulled over for regular routine traffic stops and they lose their cool and they die. Where I got caught with guns and money and in a bad situation and walked home. So it's all about how you deal with the situation. And if we keep going at things aggressively, we're going to be met with aggression.
No question.
Right. That's true.
That-
but I think a lot of times the aggression comes at us, and a lot of people aren't as skilled at you.
But why do we have to succumb to it though?
Listen. Not everybody's trained. Listen, just my situation when the cops came at me wasn't aggressive at all. They got aggressive with me, and I, got aggressive after a while.
You know about the stories we're telling you about? Tell them the story.
I'm walking down, not too far from here. I'm walking to the Pitt Stadium. I take kids to games all the time, and I drop the kids off. I'm walking down the street. A car pulls up. 4 guys get out undercover, and they ask me if I'm scalping tickets. I'm like, no, I'm not scalping tickets. What are you talking about? They're saying, well, why are you moving so fast? I'm just walking down to get the tickets. I drop my kids on the other side. I'm trying to get the tickets so I can get back and we can get in on time. They started, well, what's this paper in your hand? What's that? Kept going on and on. I kept my cool, but the aggressiveness came at me until people were like, why are you harassing him? He's just going to the game like us. They pulled up, almost hit me as I was crossing off.
Right.
Kept my cool, but the aggressiveness came at me.
Right.
Walked across the street. I'm talking to another cop. What did I do wrong? We're talking. Another guy comes at me. You need to move on. Did you get arrested? I said, no, I'm just talking to him. Well, do you want to? We'll keep moving. The aggressiveness came at me. Okay. And because, like you, I'm able to keep my calm, it didn't blow up. But the point is, that type of stuff should not happen.
And
I mean, there's a whole crowd of us. There's a whole crowd of us watching.
I totally
There's
agree.
a whole.
That's the point I want to bring out.
But
Bring that point out.
the point is, there's a whole crowd of us walking.
He's the only
and
black
they
one.
stop
You're the only person that got pulled.
There you go.
And
I agree with that.
that's the type of craziness that's
I agree.
that's why the system is broken.
And
I'm saying we need to keep talking about it.
Right.
And focus. And at the same time, we need to make sure people understand how to react.
And
we need to have classes, but that doesn't always work either.
Let me
And
share
that's
something
fine.
with y'all.
Right.
I agree
Let me
with
share
that.
something with y'all from another perspective. See, from another perspective, from just the average person who did nothing wrong, from a police officer's perspective, from someone who used to be in the crime. You see, the difference is this: when you're doing wrong, you need to know how to carry yourself where you don't escalate.
I agree.
Now, it's been times when I used to be a criminal. I don't sugarcoat that, right? And I'm glad because it's not about where you've been, it's where you're going.
Right.
And I think that God has allowed me to go past that because he knew I'd have the ability to reach kids because I speak their language. But what happens is if you're doing something wrong, you need to carry yourself where you don't get stopped. So maybe if a guy might get pulled over, even though it's wrong because he got his pants hanging down, maybe if you got some, you can pull yours up. Maybe if you got to carry drugs, you might not want to be in the car with 4 young black men because even though it's wrong,
That's
you're going to
what
get pulled
happens.
over.
Right.
So you got to think about different type of things, right? But going back to what your situation, I think that you're in a prime position, and I'm in the process. I need to speak to you very clearly on this after the show. And this is the avenue I tell you we need. What we need in our community are more black policemen in the community. Since these young men want to carry guns, why don't you get a job where it's your job to be able to carry a gun and really learn how to shoot one? You say you went to the range. They ain't going to the range. They just shooting and shooting people,
All over.
things of that nature. So that would close the gap about, because now we got somebody in our family who understands policing, and you know him personally.
Right.
Well, I think that they should have job fairs, going to high schools, looking for minorities. Because in every city you go to, there are not enough minority candidates for police officers. When I went to school in New York, I had aspirations to be a police officer myself. I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, my 11th year in New York. We went to Fort Totten, which is where they had the police training. Very interesting to me. And I think that's another thing. The other thing is, we got to start having a dialogue with the police. When you come in the neighborhood and I'm not receptive and open to talk to you about this and that, he knows nothing about you. So the first time that you have an incident, he doesn't know anything about you. But now if I had a rapport with him, he was, oh, that's Mike, he's pretty cool, this and that.
Right.
We need to build that because we're dying. Like, we got another clip when they're going to maybe show some police officers shooting unarmed men. Okay, but Do you think that that we get shot more than other races of people unjustly?
Unarmed.
Unarmed? Officer?
Officer Torre.
I said yes. I have to agree.
Okay, and what's the reason? Now, the reason, do you think, saying yes, because I know we press for, do you think that the punishment has been just in 99% of those cases? That I think that's what escalates it because they're not being held accountable when they.
It seems
Well,
like
you
it
know
gets
what?
more and more.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna answer this this way. What I would suggest is this: when I came home from school and I was working for the county, I went through this program called Citizens Police Academy.
I went.
And when I went to the Citizens Police Academy, Lieutenant Battle and Chief Harper, what they did was they walked us through about 2 months worth of, things that behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And we got a chance to ask those questions.
And all the legal stuff.
Right. No, I mean,
Right.
just listen.
Just every day,
I mean, like,
every
yo,
day as a police officer.
why do I get followed because of this? And they said, look, you know what I mean? We'll tell you why. You know what I mean? And they walked us through all of that. And not only that, but we have to be, mindful of this thing. Like, I would really even say go and try to take a criminal justice class. Yeah. Because when you get behind the badge, you're trained to see things differently.
No question.
And and it's like my life with my wife, I can just go, like, we went down to the point for the regatta. My perspective was so different in any other years that I went down there.
Okay.
I was like, armed and ready, because I don't know what's going to happen. And then what I do, I look on Facebook. Everybody's posting fights. Everybody's posting this. Oh, there's people who down there with illegal guns. So it's like, you know what I mean? You're trained to see those things. You're trained to look at that stuff. So it's like we view things differently. But outside of that, you're like, why is that even necessary? You know what I mean? So it's like, I would just implore people, if you really want to know the ins and outs, I would say go get yourself versed in policing. Go read some books on it. Go take some classes at CCAC and get knowledgeable about it, so you can actually have a foot to stand on and say, well, this is why or this is that.
All right, that's definitely good advice.
I think one thing that I want to expound on, what you mentioned, was very helpful to me, and we did it for the Mad Dad's class. I took the police academy class with Chief Cookie Coleman in Wilkinsburg. And it gives you a perspective of knowing and riding along with the police and knowing different type of things you got to deal with.
Right.
And same thing from another perspective, knowing, like you said, to regard certain type of things I don't go to because unfortunately our behavior, I can't, like Roy Ayers, not Roy Ayers, it was Bootsy Collins was here the other day.
That's my man.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to the concert.
Bootsy?
I wouldn't go to the concert because the simple fact, because it was free, it's outside, anything liable to happen. Nothing happened. My friends went.
Yeah, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. But see, it's bad that we can't really take advantage of those type of things because
we don't know.
Just like that. So we, so we have to be conscientious, and then we got to see that collectively, the people, we got to change our behavior.
A lot of things have to change. Let's jump to this
Get to
call.
this call.
Caller, say your name, where you're calling from.
Yes, this is Lou from Point Breeze.
Hey, what's up, Lou?
What's up, brother?
The reason I was calling, I've been listening for about 10 minutes, but just a suggestion for young men, especially who are driving a car. Number one, you got to have your license, got to have your owner's card, and insurance.
Yes, sir.
Because if they stop you and you don't have that, that just prolongs the stop.
Right.
If you have that stuff, it helps. Now, some cops are going to do something to you regardless.
Right.
But
right.
if you have that stuff, that's something in your favor.
That's true.
And
Good
something
point.
that happened to me about maybe 6 months ago. I'm on Ardmore Boulevard, and I'm doing the speed limit.
That's the
and
worst
this
place.
cop
Yeah.
pulls me over. It's at nighttime.
Right.
And he pulls me over in the darkest area possible. And I got to tell you, I didn't feel comfortable. And I'm telling you, I thank God I had all my stuff together. And before I went to get it, kind of like Richard Pryor, I said, I'm going into my glove department to get my information.
That's true.
And you have to do that. Some of these guys will shoot you for nothing.
Right.
You're right, brother.
That's true.
You're right, but the point that you're making, first of all, what you suggested they do that's the law for everybody.
Right.
You're not supposed to be driving a car without your insurance, registration, and insurance card.
You better do
so,
that.
and if we know that there's a high propensity of us getting pulled over anyway,
Gotta have your
why would I
on.
be
You have
riding
to-
around or even drinking that much?
That's it.
You see what I'm saying? It is a very thin line between drunk driving. You might not know you've been drinking too much. You see what I'm saying? So you're 100% right. Now, I would suggest to you, because you're allowed to, if you were uncomfortable and getting pulled over in that dark space, you could have rode to a place where it was well lit. See, that's what we missed a lot. We don't know the law, what you're allowed to do.
Right.
But even in knowing the law, it might be, well, he's fleeing.
Right, you're right.
He's
So you
fleeing.
gotta-
Right.
So you got to be, it's a very thin line that we walk on. That's why we have shows like this to be able to expound. We have professional people coming on, and we have changing the dialogue. We thank you for your call, but we need to be having the type of dialogue we need to be having instead of talking about what the Steelers done last week.
Right. Hey, also, what do you think? You know, you saw the video earlier, some of the things that are going on in the media. What's your take on that? I mean, there's something in Cincinnati. You have any thoughts on that?
No. Actually, I didn't see the video. I just started looking about 10 minutes ago. I just got in.
Okay.
All right.
But I just had one more comment.
Sure.
Sure, Lou. Thank you.
Something that bothers me is the shootings that are taking place in our communities. Like in Crafton last week, these guys drove up in their cars, got out, and started shooting at other guys. Now, that bothers me.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then last night, somebody tried to go into a guy's house on the north side,
Yes.
You got shot?
and the owner got killed.
Yep.
That's right.
Now, I often wonder if all these guys getting killed, if they were white, what would the authorities do? And one thing I think they would do is they would set up roadblocks in so many areas, and you know what they do? They check every car. And if you got illegal guns in your cars, they would put a stop to it. That's something they would do if all these young men getting killed were white.
I agree with you, but I want us to recognize our own accountability. When white folks get shot, they cooperate the police and try to tell what's going on, because they don't say we snitching, we telling who's hurting our people. You see what I'm saying? And what happened in our culture, if you want to call hip hop culture, it's been so like I'm snitching. It's not snitching when you tell people who hurt you. So this is what we're trying to have dialogue about, to change up the way we're viewing things.
Well, I heard what you're saying. I would definitely agree with that. I mean, because, you know, like you said, there's so many people around here, you know, with illegal guns. I think if they did have just more random stops, you know, more police out there, I think that would definally work.
No, because the reason why that's not, and you know, I'm gonna take a jab at the city a little bit.
Go ahead.
You know, I'm a Ravens fan, and you know,
This ain't a sports
it's
show.
just like
your garbage team.
it's
All right.
just like the Steelers, a typical Steeler fan. You know, it's either you dang if you do, dang if you don't. You throw a touchdown, you cheer for him. You throw an interception, he's the worst quarterback y'all ever had on this team. And it's like this. With our communities, either you're happy about us doing our job or you hate us for doing the job. And okay, so yeah, we get more traffic stops, and we get more you know, hey, let me check your car, let me check your car. Then you get those people who, why you gotta check my car? I'm a law-abiding citizen. So it's gonna be that fine line. There's gonna be people who are gonna love it, and there's people who are gonna hate it, and then it's gonna cause an issue there.
Okay.
And that's why it's like you can't have both. Either you want policing or you don't.
Okay, stop right there. This is what I want to bring to the point what you brought up last night, and this is where my perspective is coming from a police officer perspective, but as a black man in our community, and the right thing to do. You just got finished saying the brother got shot yesterday. They came to his house. What was his first mistake?
He went outside.
He went outside himself with a gun. He should have called the police.
And stayed
we
inside.
got to recognize the things we have to do
Right.
and the right way to do it.
Right.
See, I'm going to let the police be the police.
That's it.
Not that I'm afraid, but that ain't my expertise to go out there with no gun.
Right.
I need to protect my family.
Right.
So I need to call, there's a guy with a gun here.
Right.
So now I welcome that.
Right.
And then for those, because they know Mr. Mike ain't no punk, Mike ain't no chump.
Right.
So now I show you someone, Mr. Mike can call, I can call.
Right.
People are doing negative stuff because that's what everyone else is doing.
Right.
We got to change what we're doing.
And it has to be a consensus. It has to be, everybody has to be for it. Because if we catch you on that day when you're late for work, you're gonna flip bricks because you got stopped and they wanted to check your car.
Well, then again,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, then
I've been in
again,
this community
you know
for 20
But
years.
I
You won't
thought you
stop
were going to
me.
say it from being a police officer.
No.
When I was a police officer, first of all, you got constitutional rights.
That's
you have
it.
to have probable cause to
That's
pull me
it,
over.
and that's number one.
You have to have probable cause to
And
pull me over.
but see, again, I'm not speaking from behind no badge.
I
I'm
understand.
speaking as just.
I understand, but I'm
period.
talking about as far as what's the name.
I mean, you do gotta have
You know what?
PC.
I definitely agree with the caller. I mean, I think
But
something
Luther,
has to change. Listen, if
go ahead.
every car is being stopped, I think it's when it's
So
isolated.
So
Yeah,
you're
yes,
telling me.
I
So
would-
you're telling me you want to be stopped every single day.
you're not
Listen,
gonna-
not,
you
not,
roll
not
through?
every single
No.
day. I'm just saying.
Under those
Periodic.
circumstances.
So you want to be
Because right
stopped,
now with the way
period?
things are
So
going
you
on,
want to be stopped, period?
No.
Just for the
No,
no
because
reason?
if every
I
car
don't.
stopped, just like they
I
have
don't.
random
I don't.
alcohol stops.
I don't,
Listen,
and not that I'm doing nothing wrong. See, the thing about it, because first of all,
just like they have
but here's
random
what I-
alcohol
but-
stops
but
when
no,
they
here's
do
what I
that,
wanna
they
say.
have the same thing.
All I want to do is this. I want the perimeters of the law to be governed everybody the same way.
What's good for the
That-
goose is good
see,
for the
that's
gander.
all I'm trying to say.
I agree.
And in the other aspect, like I said, when you brought up that case about last night, just recent last night, the brother lost his life because the thing he did wrong, they was wrong for coming to his house,
Right.
but he was wrong going out there.
Right.
That was a,
You know what I
that
mean?
was a bad mistake,
Yeah,
and,
but
and
no,
he paid
it-
dearly
and-
for it. It was,
and,
it was a
quite-
wrong-
and if we want to go law wise, if he would have hit one of them in his back, he would have been charged because you're not allowed to shoot a fleeing person. And number two, you got to worry about the castle doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of laws. If he wouldn't have got killed and he would have killed one of them, he could have ran into some red tape.
Hey,
you know.
I want to share something with you because he never heard me at all, and the type of things. We don't have a caller now, and I told you I had to ask.
LD.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do you have another question?
Hey, we thank
Just
you
on
for
that?
your call, man. You really
was hanging in there.
No, but we really helped with the insight that you brought to the question, and you brought some valuable points.
Do you have something else you want to add?
Anything
Just
else?
one point.
All right.
My
Yes.
example would be in Penn Avenue in Wilkinsburg.
Okay.
Every now and then having a random stopping every car for an hour, say around 10 p.m. If I'm carrying an illegal gun and I know you're going to be there, I'm not going to carry the gun. Anything to stop our people from getting killed so often by people who look just like we do.
We understand that.
So is the problem the gun or the problem are people?
It's the gun. If you eliminate the
It's
gun,
both.
our
So,
people will
Torre, it's
fight
both.
like we used to instead of killing each other.
Right.
Eliminate the guns. That's the problem.
So
No,
then,
the problem is that we have to have more love and respect for ourselves.
because if
It's-
I don't
it's definitely
respect my
both.
life, I'm not going to respect yours.
It's definitely
go.
both the gun and the person's
Yeah, but what
mindset.
I'm saying, but we
You're
have
right.
we have to value ourselves, that our lives matter. If indeed, like he said, if my life, I don't care about my life, I don't care about you.
That's it.
So you dangerous.
It's got to be both.
Because
Too many
then,
guns
because
and
you
then
take the
mindset
guns
is
away,
wrong.
you take the guns away. Then what happens? If somebody come to your crib and they want to harm your
I
family.
want to suggest this to
Then what?
you on the call and to our panel here and anybody listening. Who you think got more guns in this country?
The kids.
No. What race of people do you think got most guns?
Of course.
White folks got way more guns. than
Of
us.
course.
Way more guns. than
And
us.
they know what to do with them.
Simple. But what I'm saying is, and it's not like there's not shootings in their community.
They're just not reported.
You know what I'm saying? There you go. And also, when something happens in their community, they get down to the brass tacks,
That's it.
and we're gonna find you.
That's it.
Hey, I want to thank you for the call. I want to get to a couple more clips. Lou, thanks for the call. Let's go to the other one. There was a DEA agent.
Yeah,
DEA,
it's a great point.
DEA
You'll like
agent.
this. You ever see this
I
before?
wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, can we run that clip
This is
real
great.
quick? Kind of interesting.
Number 5 precinct. They throw me their keys, and I would have to get in their cars, and like they park up the block, I'd have to either back up or take it around the block. Either a kid sitting in a police car. Oh man, my chest just grew about 10 inches, man, because I got in the car and I'm riding. And I started thinking this is what I want to do. I became supervisor of Group 42 for the Drug Enforcement Administration. They cross-designated me. I had to get sworn in as a special agent for DEA. So now I'm doing dual tasks. I'm a U.S. Marshal and I'm a special agent for DEA. That's when I picked up the name Batman. I'm talking about Gotham City, man. We were rolling, man. We were jumping on guys in the middle of the night, all of that, swooping down on folks all across the country. Using these sort of tactical operations that we went out on that you would use in Vietnam or use in some type of war-torn zone. And all of the stuff that we were doing, just calling it the war on drugs. And it wasn't very many black guys in my position. So when I would go into the war room where we were setting up all of our drug and gun addiction task forces, determining what cities where we're going to hit, I would notice that most of the time was always appeared to be urban areas. And that's when I asked the question, well, don't they sell drugs out Potomac and Springfield and places like that? Or maybe y'all think they don't. The statistics show they use more drugs out in those areas than anywhere. The special agent in charge, he says, you know, if we go out there and start messing with those folks, they know judges, they know lawyers, they know politicians. You start locking their kids up, somebody's going to jerk our chain. He said they're going to call us on it, and before you know it, they're going to shut us down, and there goes your overtime. What I begin to see is that the drug war is totally about race. If we was locking up everybody, white and black, for doing the same drugs, they would have done the same thing they did with Prohibition. They would have outlawed it. They would have said, let's stop this craziness, because you're not putting my son in jail. My daughter's not going to jail. If it was an equal enforcement opportunity operation, we wouldn't be sitting here anyway. It's all about fairness, man, and understanding how would I want to be treated. Whether I'm on that one end or the other end, how would I want to be treated if everything was done equally?
I like the points he made. You know, I always wanted the same thing. Wanted to get you guys' viewpoints on it. I mean, something that I've always suspected, but you know, just to hear someone put it out there the way he put it out there.
Well, I'm very much familiar with the war on drugs in the black community. You know what I'm saying? From the time that started with Nixon, Reagan, and then even
Clinton.
Bill Clinton. You know, but the thing about it is statistics have shown that whites use drugs way more than other ethnic groups. But when they get caught with drugs, they're most apt to get probation. A young man's first offense of black kid, he's apt to get 2 or 3 years. And that's the problem. So we need more education about the ills of drugs. And in our community, it's being glorified. If you look at the type of shows that come on, young brothers smoking weed, it's just part of the thing, man. Yeah. So so those type of images that we're being bombarded with have to do a lot with the decisions our youth make.
I think the focus is wrong. As I said, it's broken. I think we need more intervention. I mean, you know, you look at the explosion, all these private prisons, most of it is nonviolent crime.
Yeah, they're going to change that.
Nonviolent drug crimes.
They're going to change that.
And that's a problem right now. I think we need to focus more on treatment than, you know, these for-profit.
Oh, no question.
You know, entities. I mean, Torre, your thoughts on that, man? Because it's not helping. You have so many guys locked up for, you know, drug offenses, and they're locked up with violent murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and just, you know, the focus is wrong. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, man, I had never seen that clip, so I'm still chewing on the information that he gave. I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough because at the end of the day, it's like this, man. And I say this, and people get mad. To know better is to do better, and to do better is to be better.
Okay.
And it's like, if we know that they're focused on us in these areas, then these are the areas that we need to strengthen up. These are our weak links in our culture. And we need to make sure that when they come, that they find no weakness. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, is it hard? I've never smoked a drug in my life. Is it hard to stop smoking weed? I don't know. But why not, you know what I mean? Why not get away from the thing that is causing the people to come to you? You know what I mean? So it's like, if that's the case, then we need to do something in our community to stop that. But a lot of people don't want to because that's what they like.
Well, what I want to ask you from a layman's term, and you being involved with law enforcement, have you recognized that in our community that we're more apt to be targeted for illegal use of drugs than whites in the area?
I'm gonna be honest. I grew up watching Cops, and the one thing that surprised me was, you see cops, they find a little, I found something, he's gone. You know what I mean? They lock everybody up. Whereas we've done search and seize on people, and we found bags and cars and on their person, and they let them go. And they said you'll receive a summaries in the mail. So it's like, to me, it blew my mind. You know, I almost broke down and took my badge off when I seen that, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean the summaries in the mail? Like, I want to do what they did on cops, what I seen growing up.
Yeah, but
but what I'm saying is, I'm only in these different areas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not out, you know, Newcastle and Ambridge and stuff like that. I'm in this area, and you know, my thing when it comes to that is out of sight, out of mind. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not condoning you to do it, but be smart about it. If you see this is here, then you need to go somewhere where it's not, and in that way you could do your thing, but it's out of the sight of the law.
All right. Hey, Torre, as we get ready to wrap up, couple minutes left. Get that information again, website, phone number, services you offer quickly.
All right, the Moxie Organization, you can find us at www.moxiecares.org. Our email is moxie, MOXIEORG @yahoo.com. My number is 412-608-6603. You can hit me on Facebook, Torre Colverson, the Moxie Organization on there as well. You know, the services that we offer is mentorship through music, dance, vocation, business readiness, independent living. We also do some work with the homeless shelters over on the north side, and we're looking to get some other things rolling with some after-school programs. So if you need us, get in touch with me, and we'll be right to you.
All right.
You also said you had some people trying to get jobs.
Job training as well.
Yeah, like I said, what happens is this: you call us and we facilitate the need. You tell us what you need. Either we'll help the service,
you either have it or find somebody who does have it.
That's it. We outsource.
All right, hey Torre, once again, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
having you on.
Yes,
We look forward to having some of your guys come and do some talent with us. For Mike Vick, Torre Colverson, Luther Dupree, we'll check you out next time.
Right.
Check out the website, scsportsworld.com. Follow us on Facebook.
Be safe out there, Pittsburgh.
Salute.
We got to learn to love ourselves.
That's it.
Peace.
Peace.